नेगेटिव आ जाती है रिपोर्ट। सो ये सब चीजें कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट करती है पब्लिक में, और मेनली स्टूडेंट्स तो हमको फॉलो करते हैं। सो व्हाई डोंट वी use only those statements in the school while teaching, and say only such words which first we dare to follow in our own life practically। तो पहले हम जिस बात की धारणा करते हैं उसको अगर पढ़ाएंगे तो हर बात उनके माइंड के डीप लेवल तक एज इंजेक्शन इज बीइंग इंजेक्टेड, तो कंटेंट चला जाता है ना बॉडी में, तो वैसे जाएगा। एक्चुअली जाता नहीं है, कोई टीचर बच्चों को मिस्चीवियस एक्ट करने के लिए अलाउ नहीं करता है, लेकिन फिर भी दे आर वेरी मिस्चीवियस, दे आर नॉट very sincere about their career। The reason only is being because we ourselves are not very sincere, so we take the things lightly, and we just live in two different segments of life, one equation, and we follow in two ways। इस घर पे अलग है, अपनी लाइफ में अलग है, और स्कूल में वाइल टीचिंग अलग है। मेरे ख्याल से ये बहुत प्रैक्टिकली फॉलो नहीं हो पाता है। स्टूडेंट्स तभी फॉलो करेंगे जब हम प्रैक्टिकली उसको अपने अंदर लाएंगे ना, जब धारण करेंगे। धर्म इज आल्सो धारणा। सो द सेम वे, लाइक दीज टू वर द एग्जांपल्स, स्मॉल लिटिल एग्जांपल्स। We how next is how we can teach them making use of mind। NEP has not taught us, they have given us several plannings, there are many strategies we can follow, and we can ask children to follow it, but making use of mind practically is altogether different aspect। Like I'm sorry if I'm going beyond this NAP's policies, like the statements which we go
That's
in
okay, sir.
that
जी
a
sir.
big booklet of uh, right। So but जो भी मन में आ रहा है मेरा बोलने का, like I wanted to share, like use of mind has not to be taught. Use of mind has to be done by the educators in front of children। like जिससे मैं कहूंगा सिंपल रहकर सैंपल बनना है हमने। अगर हम सैंपल हैं तो हम सैंपल बनकर हम बच्चों के लिए म्यूजियम का फॉर्म क्रिएट कर सकते हैं अपने पार्ट्स में, अपने फेस एक्सप्रेशंस, अपने आईज का मूवमेंट, अपने each and every word which we utter from our mouth, like we have to be simple for them, because ultimately a small kid of 5 to 6 years till he goes to the teen age is following 100% a teacher। पेरेंट्स को बाद में पूछता है, अगर मदर ठीक कराती है टीचर का कराया काम तो वो कहते हैं नहीं, मेरे मैम ने ये सिखाया है। सो यूज ऑफ माइंड हम कैसे बताएंगे उनको जब तक हम नहीं करेंगे, है ना। हम उनके सामने ऐसा सैंपल क्रिएट करें, ऐसा एटमॉस्फेयर बनाए क्लासरूम का, या मे बी अब तो आउटडोर क्लासरूम्स आर आल्सो, क्लासेस आर आल्सो अलाउड। सो वी कैन टेक देम for some excursion, make them sit under the tree, like, and share our own experiences। बिल्कुल दिल से की हुई बात जो है वो दिल तक पहुंचेगी और वो समझेंगे। तो only the thing, this is I would like to conclude, proper channelization is required। प्रॉपर चैनलाइजेशन ऑफ द माइंड मींस जो माइंड सेट है उनका, उसमें उनमें एनर्जी है। जैसे ज्योति मैम ने कितना अच्छी बात बोली कि एवरीवन नोज, हमें एक बात पता है, हमने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा, अ चाइल्ड कम्स अप विद 10 आंसर्स, लाइक बिकॉज नॉलेज बहुत है, इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत ज्यादा वास्ट है, हमसे भी ज्यादा उनके अंदर है, लेकिन उन उसको प्रॉपरली चैनलाइज करना हमारी ड्यूटी है। So this responsibility we should all take, and साइड बाय साइड जो गवर्नमेंट कह रही है, सजेस्ट कर रही है, और एल्स वी लर्न फ्रॉम दिस काइंड ऑफ सेशन, वी शुड आल्सो स्टार्ट फॉलोइंग इन आवर लाइफ, isn't it? Like, thank you so much।
Thank you, Sarthak sir. Thank you so much for your very, very spirited session point. Sir, all in all, if I look at what you've said, the fourth leg being the most important leg, and that is the spiritual leg, very rightly said, is what is spirituality? This is not religion. It is knowing oneself. And if a child is taught how to know his own self, sir, उसे दर्द नहीं होगा. If you are able to control your body, you will not get tired, you will not feel the pain, and you will be able to channelize. That is rightly said, that what we need to train them is to channelize their energies. There are cosmic
Yes.
energies, there are mental energies also. And so that is what the Rishi Munis did. So all in all, we are coming back, जो हमारा पुराना सिस्टम था, that was one of the best system, and कहीं ना कहीं लेके आना है. उसके लिए मैं एंड ऑफ मेरे सेशन में एक बात करूंगा. उसको हम उसकी बिगनिंग कहाँ से करेंगे, मेरे भी कुछ आइडियाज हैं. दैट द गुरुकुला सिस्टम वाज वेरी गुड, जहां हम हमारे गुरु जी का पहले पैर छूते थे, राइट. एक और इंपॉर्टेंट सर व्हाट यू टॉक्ड अबाउट इज दैट अ चाइल्ड till this teen, he will always listen to the teacher, because you look at any small kid, the first thing that they play is they have a foot roller and they go teach the plants, because their idol is the teacher. And that is why I say, mummy tum nahi, my teacher is right, because meri teacher ne kaha hai. So very rightly said, these tender years, if we as teachers do our work properly, I'm sure we need not worry about the other things. Very rightly said. I will move on to the other point. um, Use of mind. So that is there in NEP 2020. When they are talking about critical thinking, that's exactly what they are saying, कि दिमाग यूज कीजिए. अभी हम क्या कर रहे हैं, उसको सिर्फ रट्टा मारने के लिए यूज कर रहे हैं. Right now a brain is a storage, it is not a production house. वो तो एक गोडाउन बना हुआ है कि सब कुछ रख लो और जब निकालना निकाल दो, लेकिन उसका गोडाउन में रख के क्या करना, that is not being understood. So very rightly said, sir, we have to train our students how to use the brain properly, and that somewhere is critical thinking, and that is what we, our old education system has not been able to do it. No, पहले क्या था कि लोगों को एजुकेशन दे दो, एक आदमी अगर साइन कर ले वो एजुकेटेड माना जाता था. अब तो सर वो नहीं चलता, अब तो अंगूठा फिर से आ गया, right? Your most important signature is your thumb impression. But what we need to do is the use of the right thing. Thank you so much, sir. Sarthak sir, I will come back to you. Suraj sir, do we have your presence here? Suraj sir, are you
Yes,
there? Yeah, we had
I'm
missed you
already.
out on that. Can we have your
Uh,
main talk, sir? You have got 8 to 10 minutes, sir. Can we have your point, sir? Ji,
yes,
Suraj sir.
sir. I was just patiently listening to all of you and reflecting upon. I have the same opinion which I want to share. See, I believe that the same effective learning should be there. There should be effective teaching learning in the classroom. But how it is going to be done? Well, I have a two different experience which I will relate to. Then after I'll come back to my point. The one is that you see two different situations and just generalize what was happening. Years back, I was working as a coordinator. It was 8 years back. Then I was given in charge. I was made in charge to look after the pre-primary section. I was looking after the student up to class 2. So I been a habit that whenever I was going to have an observation, class observation, whenever I found something while lying over there, I was just picking out the bits of paper or anything. I was just putting into the dustbin. Fine. I was doing because 2 days I went over there and I found this thing was there. So I developed and practice. Whenever I found something, I was just putting into the dustbin. So this so happened like uh, I wanted actually my teacher were teaching very well, but I wanted the children should also learn some life skills in themselves. But teaching life skill directly from the classroom is actually impractical because you are teaching through the books which the children are not going to learn. So what I did actually, I was doing this thing and uh, trying to teach the children's. So it continued for 7 and 8 days, and it so happened for a 3 days and all I was not there. And the moment when I came back the other day for having the class or observation, the teacher were asking, "Sir, you are not coming for 2 days. The children were just looking for you, and you won't believe that." Okay, the bits of paper, the way you are choosing out, putting into the dustbin, the children started doing the same thing over there. This is what we call the self-directed learning. Actually, learning is taking place everywhere and every time. Actually the thing is that how we are going to deliver the curriculum, deliver the content into the student. Now you see the another experience is that in another class in some time before, we had one more student and he was very talkative. He was an intelligent student and talkative student, and he was then having the bad habit of asking the question, which actually we regard always as the child is why asking so much question, because that really upset the teachers. Fine. So I was a class teacher. I was bearing up because he was asking the rational question. There was a logic behind that because that's what I was asking. Moment back, I was replaced with another teacher. Another teacher came. He was a bit, short-tempered and all. So whenever he was moving up to him for asking any question and all, he was rebuking him. He was not taking seriously and actually disregarding the child. It so happened, just because of the the response, he did not get the teachers from there, and he continued for a year and all, and finally the student did not come for a week and all. This is what actually the real experience I'm sharing with you. And one day I found that he came with his parent and he told telling that sir, we don't want to continue the child in the same school because we are I'm going to transfer in some other place, so I just come up over here to take my TC and all. When I inquired about that, and I personally went and talked about that, so this is what actually the mental trauma the child was facing. See, the school has lost a very good child from there. It is just because of the poor education, but because of the poor teaching and the education system. Well, the child was very right on his place, but he was asking. The only thing was he was asking the question, which was very right on his place. What actually I believe that a education system should be there which can train the child as a whole, which can make an individual, which can train him right from top to bottom. What I feel that there should be, the first thing is that teaching should come from the teacher, which should really focus on teaching the basic life lesson. How is going to respond to the society? How is going to respond to the people around him? How is going to respond to the teachers and all? This should be the basic life lesson. The teaching, the teaching should be there. Second is that self-directed learning. Self-directed, that was what you people was talking about, the spiritual learning and all, right? Because this is, once the child has left the classroom or left the school, he is going to face the world. But if his inner strength has been developed, inner skill has been developed, he is ready to face all the problem, whatever come. Maybe he'll be facing a lot of challenge in searching of the jobs also. Maybe he's facing a lot of child in his real life, practical life, married life also. But if he trained right from the very beginning, he'll be able to manage all the problems in his own way, right? And second, and the next thing I want to relate is the holistic learning. Holistic means developing confidence in the children, listening to the children, using the multidisciplinary approach to teach a child. Because what exactly I want my children to learn? It may be that we are following the one way. There are different approach. There are different way through which we can teach the children. So one specific thing is that we should have the multiple approach to teach the children, because exactly the aim is that we want to develop the concept among the children. Doesn't matter what could be the way of teaching. So these are some of the points I want to include that, and these are the points have been included in the new education policy, which I really appreciate. If it is really taken into the practice, that really will be a great helpful to that. But again, the problem is that teachers is actually the core, the main, center of this, because it's the teacher who has to train the child. Okay, if the teachers know the proper pedagogy, if he is skilled, then only he can utilize all the way. And poorly, if you look back upon that, the teachers are attending the B.Ed classes and all, they are just attending the classes, getting the degree. But in practical speaking, true teaching is not taking place. True training is not happening over there. Due to that, you are lacking in the practical teaching style and the pedagogy and that. If the teachers are trained properly, definitely that reflection will come upon the teachers. Because what really matters is that whatever I'm teaching the child today, but really matters after 25 years right from now, when the child look back and say, you are a very important person in my life. That really matters, because that is the winning point of the teacher, and that's a real reward of the teacher. So that's all from my now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Surat, sir. So you talked about self-directed learning, something very important. It reminds me of a saying, be the change that you want to see. So you have to
True.
start with it. And very true, sir. Students actually always follow what the teachers do. So we have to set an example. So the other thing that you talked about, asking questions. So it's very important to answer each and every question that a child asks, whether that child is up to that age or not. If you do not give them
True.
answers, they will stop asking questions. And if a child stops asking question, he will stop thinking, and that is the worst thing that can happen for a child. Fortunately for that child, he could change the school, but a lot of students will actually stop asking, which is not good for their
True.
future. So that's a very important thing that you put up, that inquiry based learning. So NEP does talk about inquiry based learning. We have to understand that students should be inquisitive. They should ask as much as is possible.
True.
I will give you a very simple example. सर, अगर एक 2 साल का बच्चा पूछता है कि पापा ममा ये मून का साइज छोटा क्यों हो जाता है और चेंज कैसे हो जाता है? Now we can't teach him about the earth coming between the sun and the moon, or the sun coming between the earth and the moon, and that is what it. So उस बच्चे को उस लेवल का आंसर देना, लेकिन आंसर देना जरूरी है. If you say बेटा अभी नहीं, तुम बहुत छोटे हो, that poor child will feel, why am I not getting the answers? So at each level, each question has an answer, and it is the duty of the parents and the teachers to give that answer. Very, very rightly, aptly said. So you also talked about multiple approach of teaching. Very true, sir. Some students are auditory listeners, some are visual listeners, some are kinesthetic learners. So that is true. A good teacher, somebody who can deploy different teaching methodologies. Very rightly said, sir. So this is something very important, that as teachers, we need to be very innovative. It is not that a teacher should know everything, but the teacher has access, and the teacher should be prepared to deal with such students. Thank you so much, sir. I will come back to you with my questions. So can we have Jyoti ma'am? Can we have you? Your perspective on the NEP 2020? Jyoti ma'am? Jyoti ma'am, are you there with us? Yes, thank you. Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am. So sorry, we didn't get what you said.
So as we are continuously talking about NEP and all those things, so I would like to go back again, like Kothari Commission. It was the first commission that, talked about diversification of the curriculum. Like 1966, they just gave so many points that, curriculum has to be diversified, different subjects to be included, this and that. But then finally it didn't turn up to be really well, and then we came across this NEP 1986, and again SUPW was added to inculcate these vocational subjects into our regular teaching. So my major concern is that the demand and the supply, like as we talk about vocational education and all, so like sirs mentioned right now, that even these teachers who are coming to us, they're just having this B.Ed degree with them. You can easily identify, looking at the teacher, the way teacher teaches, that whether the teacher has done a regular degree course, whether teacher has actually gone to the classroom, or has taken that training or not. Because I have seen people abhi padhana shuru kar dete hain, 2 saal baad unko degree mil jayegi. There are so many universities, there are so many colleges. So basically it's not only the school that has to take care of the teaching methodology and everything, but such higher institutions also, wherein we are doing our graduation, wherein we are doing our professional courses, like when we talk about BTCs, when we talk about BLEd, when we talk about DLEd, these things are to be looked into very precisely if we really want to have our education system what we are expecting by the end of 2030. Like we cannot reach if we do not have supply of good trained teachers with us, because the problem is, challenge is going to be that only with all the stakeholders. Even okay, schools will raise their fee, everything will happen, but how the supply of the teachers or the people, like if I talk about vocational subject has to be added, for example, if I want my children to be very good with these preparing these circuits and all, so I must have those people with me. And if such, I cannot just give this responsibility to the electrician because he's taking care of the light system in my school, so my children will be learning from him. So major challenge is going to be there, that we should have those well trained teachers who can actually bring all the changes that we are expecting. And again, the responsibility comes on the head of the teachers again. Like when we use the words, rightly said by somebody, I don't remember the name, but we say ki, we use some phrases कि ये तो स्कूल की बातें हैं, किताबों की बातें हैं. We actually say I don't say it, but yes, it does happen that किताबों की बातें किताबों में ही रहने दो. Even parents, they tell us कि ज्यादा ये सब नहीं करो, ये सब किताबों की बातें हैं, तुम किताबों की दुनिया से बाहर निकलो, ये सब जिंदगी में नहीं होता है. But that's where we have to draw that line. Like, if I give you a simple example, we tell children, do not eat junk food. And the very next day, the teacher goes outside and having golgappas or pani puri, and then the child sees and says that, teacher, you said that I should not have junk food, you are having junk food. So what phrase she could use at that time is avoid. Like, you can always have such food because they are very, really very tempting and all. So what we can do, we have to be very, what is it, we have to think 10 times before we use any phrase, before we use any sentence. Like, in the beginning, what is told, we teach simple present tense. We tell the universal truth, the sun rises in the east. So that's why we use this present tense, because it is a universal truth. Now the child goes to class 3 and the child is studying that sun is a star, and the stars do not move, they are stationary objects. So I have to teach the concept actually that actually the sun is not moving, it's the earth which is moving. So that's what the concept building, instead of just the technical the theoretical knowledge we are giving to our student, that we have to come out of that cocoon. We have to be very open, very welcoming with the questions of our students. If I really want to stop my child from questioning, then my answer should be such. If you want to really limit the child, that this question, okay, I'll answer it, this you're going to study in higher classes. Which higher class? You have to tell the child. And you can actually tell the child that open that textbook, go to your seniors, ask questions to them, so that you're not only developing that child, but you are also that friendly environment. Because I work for a residential school, so that building a bond is really very important between the students, the teachers, as well as the seniors, juniors, कि मैम उस क्लास में ये चल रहा है, उस क्लास में ये चल रहा है. So that is really very important, that we work as a team, that and everything will fall in place only if this works out. Otherwise it will be just on papers, that any page, whether you talk about the choice of subjects, whether you talk about the language, which is like subjects can be taught in regional languages and all, it's not going to work out. We have to be really very flexible with the students. We have to give them freedom. We have to be ready with the we have to be ready and accepting with the fact that they are there. If you really want to work on their questioning skills, like B.Ed, if you go for, so there are micro teaching lessons wherein you learn the questioning skill. So use that skill. Tell your children what is, बच्चे को ये पता ही नहीं होगा कि वे क्वेश्चन क्या है, एक नॉनसेंस क्वेश्चन क्या है. So how do you expect that child to be active and to know that this question is fine, it can be asked in the classroom, this question is not fine, this cannot be asked in the classroom. Kuch classes aise jaate hain, there are certain classes wherein the children are scared of asking any question. They are not at all open to ask question, and some classes are really very interactive. So we have to understand कि जो शोर आ रहा है क्लास से, what it is indicating, what it is showing, if it is about discussion or it is about anything else which is not useful. So the whole responsibility is on the head of the educator. So we have to act not only as an educator but the facilitator, that I'm there, you ask, if not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, day after, but you have to make sure that you are there for your students, especially when I talk about these residential schools and all, because these children are not going to their parents, they are not asking questions to them, they don't even have time for that. So we have to be very open, very optimistic about all these changes, and especially the hiring of the teachers. We have to make sure that the teachers who we are hiring or who are coming to us are well trained. Otherwise, we talk 10 things, they understand two things, and they implement 0.25. So otherwise it's not going to work. It's going to be very haphazard, or things will never fall in place. That's it.
Thank you, Jyotiji. You've talked about the importance of vocational training. I'm sure we all are with you on this point that vocational training is something very, very important. But you also put in a point that how are we going to get the right kind of teachers to do vocational training? NEP 2020 does talk about vocational training. It does talk about, going down to the local artisans and getting things from them. So vocational training is for two reasons. It is not actually teaching them everything. It is one thing is, making these students actually respect dignity of labor. Second, they have to know that these are the other professions that too can be taken up, because in India, everybody wants to be a graduate, everybody wants to be an engineer, everybody wants to be a doctor. So if you look at today's scenario, if you want one doctor, you have three doctors' names coming in. You want one engineer, you got five engineers coming in. You want one chartered accountant, you get two of them. But if you want one plumber, you will not get it. So it is important that we actually dignify labor. And what I understand is NEP 2020 is somewhere trying to say that there are other forms of professions and we should take it up. And very important, India and Indian culture should actually respect dignity of labor, respect each and every work, because if these people are not there in the society, society cannot exist at large. So very well said, ma'am. One more important thing is that, what we need to do is we need to build concepts. Very true. Concepts can be started from a small part and can be taken up to a larger scale. And very important that we need to be facilitators, because very important, a teacher cannot know everything. So let's facilitate, let's make learning happen. Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. I'll come back to you. I think we have Dr. Deepika with us. Dr. Deepika, do we have your presence? Dr.
Yes,
Deepika?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. We missed you during the opening session. Can we have your opening remark and your main talk? Can we have
Sure,
it from
sir.
your side?
Sure, sir. Sure,
Thank you
sir.
so
Sure.
much.
Good evening once again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Deepika, and I'm heading Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department at SRM University, Sonipat. As I'm from SRM University, so I'll be discussing about choice-based credit system curriculum that we have adopted for SRM University, particularly for electrical department. So my subjects, they'll give you more feeling of the electrical part only. So I feel that salient features of MEP is still on discussion stage, and they are yet to be implemented. But I'm glad to say that we have adopted the choice-based credit system syllabus for our university, which also focuses on development of essential skill set which students need to acquire. So I'll directly begin with this curriculum. We have implemented basically to bridge the gap between the university and job industry. And I believe that school team also, helps students to bridge gap between school and university. So in a way, we are related to each other. That is, a choice-based credit system is related to each other. Actually, this is a curriculum, where we are introducing multiple courses in it. And here, when I say choice based credit, so credit here means class hour per week that carries additional importance in credit system. And so here, one credit is equivalent to 1 hour of theory teaching. And if I say 1 hour credit is also equivalent to 2 hour of practical that is being conducted. In simple words, I would say it as a student centric approach to learning or acquiring a higher education. So, choice based credit system provides convenient, at the same time, effective teaching learning platform wherein the student or knowledge seeker has the flexibility to choose their course from a list of open elective, list of departmental elective, and as well as soft skill courses. So core subject, of course, there will be a mandatory requirement For engineering stream, many of us know that first year is common for all branches that include basic sciences subjects, yoga, and personality development courses. And from second year onwards, core subject will be introduced stream wise. So we at SRM University follow the CBCS syllabus for our electrical department, which provide opportunity to our EEE students to enhance their skills and knowledge to meet industry expectation. Apart from foundation courses, we have open elective, and list of open elective courses is selected in a manner so that student can acquire skill of learning. And we also at SRM University, we also give opportunity to our students to learn German, French, Japanese as a foreign language. As per Industry 4.0, which is referred to as Energy 4.0 in power sector, that is the digital transformation that is taking place in power sector. So our students will be trained to learn application of electrical engineering in IoT, that is Internet of Things, cloud computing, Python and big data analytics, machine learning, neurofuzzy and genetic programming, also AI and cyber security, etc. So these are the new advanced topic that we have introduced in electrical domain as well. So along with that, various other choices of management subjects are there, such as economics and principles of management, industrial engineering and management, intellectual property rights, innovation and technology, etc. will also be part of our curriculum for overall holistic development of student personality, which need to be created during this course. So fine-tuned and specialized curriculum covers various departmental elective, which deals with advanced topics like power electronics and power system, electric vehicle, renewable energy, microgrid, smart grid, etc. So our department follows innovative practices to enhance students' skills by encouraging them to learn via MOOC courses, that is massive open online courses by using online platform provided by NPTEL, NAPTEL courses, etc. So wherein the student do their own assignment along with that 40 hours lecture that is available at NPTEL platform. Faculty members also train students with GATE preparation to enhance their skills to get into the core companies. Also, we have a semester abroad program where SRM University is having tie-up or MOU, you can say, signed by various international university, where students have liberty to go there and complete one semester and their credits will be transferred to their degree. Also, I'd like to say that as per our choice-based credit system, one complete, that is the 8th semester, that is the final semester of their BTech curriculum is dedicated for industrial training for 5 months duration. So our aim is basically to provide an opportunity for students so that they get familiarized with the industry of their own domain or discipline and discover the organization within the industry. Along with that, we have various industrial visits also from time to time that we are arranging for students so that they know the application part of it as well. Students have to prepare various major as well as minor projects from time to time under the guidance of faculty members. Also, I'd like to mention that if any Indian student want to pursue their higher education in European country, then they have to have a UG degree or BTech degree of credits above 180. So here we give them the opportunity, we give opportunity to students to earn 185 credits for their respective courses by adding various value-added courses to it. So basically our aim is to create a multidisciplinary approach for our students so that we can equip them in a manner so that they're able to face real world challenges and later on not just as a job seeker but as per our logo of SRM University, that is learn, lead and lead in a way so that in future they are confident enough to open up their own startup or to enhance their own entrepreneurial skills, so in a way, serving mankind in a better way with multidisciplinary approach. So before I finish it up, I'll just give you that, there is a combo that is a BTech CSE student, if he or she pursue LLB right after that, which is the combination that is actually there, but it's a very rare combination. So obviously, to get a certain set of solution for certain, problem area, the approach which he or she will, apply will be completely, in multidisciplinary approach will be there. So that way, it gives a lot of emphasis we should give on multidisciplinary approach that helps our students to develop their own skills. Um, uh, That's it from my side, sir.
Thank you,
Over to
Dr. Yeah, thank you,
yes.
Dr. Yadav. So you very in a very strong manner, and I would say efficient manner, you explained what SRM University is all about and the kind of CBCS system that you follow. In fact, I think you've been following it much before NEP 2020 came in, and I am aware about a lot of universities who do that, and that's exactly what should happen. A child or a learner should be allowed to learn what interests him more. Very nice and very well said, ma'am. You also talked about the kind of different core subjects and the major and the minor subjects that the students can use, and also about the various languages that they can do, because the world is becoming small. So you are offering, other than English, other foreign languages such as French, German, and Japanese. You also covered about giving the online MOOC system of self-learning where the students can do. So thank you so much, Dr. Yadav. We will come back to you in our later sessions. So now, do we have presence of? Uh, I think we had seen Mr. Vipin Jaiswal join in. Is he there? Vipin sir, are you there? Okay, I suppose he's still not joined in. So now I will change my hats again. I come back to be one of the speakers. So you see, my point today and right now, what I'm going to focus more on is, like I initially talked about, using technology. See, understand one important thing, that NEP 2020 brings in a lot of new subjects. Do you think we as schools are capable of having these many teachers to teach these many subjects? There's a lot of change coming in. The major challenge right now is, how do we train teachers? All throughout today's sessions, we have always talked about, this is what a teacher has to be, that is what a teacher has to be, this is what a teacher should do, and this is what a teacher should not do. But the point coming up here is that if we have to implement NEP 2020, are we geared up to train our teachers? We are talking about 14 million teachers in our country, and a country of our side, and the kind of demographic differences that we have, the kind of places that we have, where you can approach, where you can't even approach. How are we going to do that? How are we going to achieve the teacher training? Because only when the teachers are trained will they be able to train our students. NEP 2020 has brought in a lot of change. Till now, teachers are teaching the way they were taught, but now we are talking about suddenly changing things. So what is very important, I think, it is teacher training. But how do we train such a big lot? So we have Suraj sir, we have Sarthak sir, we have Jyoti ma'am, we have got Dr. Deepika. The question here is, how do we ensure that we train all these teachers? Is it possible to train 14 million teachers? Is it possible to teach and train them into different aspects? Because not each teacher is going to be the same thing. It is not one size fits all. It is not that one training is meant for everybody. How do we do that? I propose, looking at what NEP 2020 wants, is we first need to train all our teachers in the use of simple basic IT tools. Though during the pandemic, they were forced to learn and they've done a good job. But what we need to understand is that our teachers need to be trained on how to use the internet properly. You see, there's a huge repository of information. How do you convert that information into your knowledge base? Because you see, teachers of today will never be able to outpace the students of today. Understand, students of today are much, much smarter than what we are. Understand that we are technology migrants and these students are technology residents. They were born with laptops or they were born with mobile phones in their laps. How do you outpace such a thing? So, what we have to do, instead of being a sage on the stage, we have to be facilitators. Let me give you one example. We've all talked about that a teacher should do this, a teacher should do that. My point is, a teacher should be able to make learning very interesting. A teacher should be able to tell the child, I don't know this, but I will come back. I'll come back with the answers. Let me give you an example. You all know about flipped classrooms. Flipped classroom is something that very well fits into the NEP 2020. Let's take, for example, that if today I had to come to a class and I have to go to class 8 and I have to talk about, say, volcanoes. What would I do normally as a normal teacher? I would go to the class, I'll open up my book and I say, okay, this is what it is, and these are volcanoes, these are type of volcanoes, these are dormant, these are active, and things, blah blah blah. So I will offload whatever I know, I will download it to the students. It's a one-way communication. The I am speaking as a teacher and students are listening. There's no guarantee whether they are understanding. There's no guarantee that they have actually absorbed everything. So this teaching learning may not be interesting. But instead of this, if I do something else, if I come and say today that tomorrow I'm going to talk about volcanoes. So I want each one of you 30 students to come up with 10 points of your own and present it to the class. What will happen? The moment the students go back home, they will straight Google out, and they will Google out volcanoes. But you know what? Unfortunately, they will not be able to get those 10 points. Unfortunately, they will not be able to get those 10 points. Instead of that, they will get 10,000 points. Jyoti ma'am, you did talk about it. You asked them one thing and they got 10 answers. Exactly. So instead of 10 points, they've got 10,000 points. So what is it that they have to do? They have to read through that. They have to skim through that. They have to scan that and come out with their 10 points. But understand one important thing. Today, students are reading less, and increasingly the reading habits are going down, which is not a good thing. When we talk about inquiry based learning, when we talk about research based learning, which even NEP 2020 talks about it, the students should form good reading habits. So make sure that your students read and read and read. Okay, coming back to this point. So what will happen? The child has to go, he has to scan through those 10,000 lines or X number of lines and come back with his own 10 lines. Come the next day, what happens? Each child has to get up and give a presentation of his 10 points. So first thing that they learn is presentation skills, which are very, very important in today's date. Second, they have to speak out. So they acquire communication skills, which is again very important. Third, they have to listen to others also, and they have to collaborate. So they come out with collaborative learning and peer group learning. And if these students come up with this kind of learning, this will be very interesting. One. Second, everybody gets involved. Third, learning happens because everybody is participating. So what is important in today's time is to bring in participative learning so that everything is absorbed. And for this, you don't need heavy infrastructure. You don't need a lot of technology. Even a phone with internet connection is good enough. And all this time, what is the teacher doing? The teacher is facilitating this entire peer group learning. Understand, students learn better from their peers than us. You come with a new mobile phone, you will keep struggling with it for a month, but your son or your child will actually show that to you within 2 days because he learns from his friends. So we need to bring in this where they collaborate and they learn, where they go and do their research on their own, and that is what is required when we talk about inquiry based learning. You see, there's a lot of information. We have to train our students how to look for that information, where to look for that information, and how to come up with their own points. So this is something that is required. So very important. We need to train our teachers because they are going to wear various hats. Like we've had Sir talk about that, teachers have to be their friends, teachers have to be their parents, teachers have to be their friends, and teacher also have to be their guides. How can you expect one person to know everything? So that is all with the help of technology. The teacher will have to do. But what they need to know is they need to have compassion. They need to have patience. They need to love their work, which is very, very important. I'll come back to it this in my third part of my session. How do we get such kind of things done? So very important is that we need to see to it that our teachers are first trained on core IT skills. They need not know coding. Coding can be taught by a coding teacher, somebody who's a computer teacher. But a normal teacher should be able to do this. And this is what will bring in change. And the students will be able to get what they know, what they want, things like that. Okay. Now I would like to come and focus on something which none of the participants have talked about, is that NEP 2020 talks about that during the early foundation years, we have to teach them using the local language. Jyoti ma'am, you did talk about it. You said, I don't know how this happened, but let me give you some light because we work with 3,000 schools. We work with 1 million students on a daily basis in India. I know how difficult it is for them to comprehend in English when they are in the class 1. You see, one time on one side we are teaching them how to communicate in English, on the other side we are teaching them core subjects in English that poor child is not able to comprehend. But if they are taught during the early foundation years in their local language, in their mother tongue, they already know that. So education doesn't become heavy and core subjects can be acquired easily. But but that does not mean that we do away with English. You know, it is said that by the age of 8, a student can acquire up to 5 languages. NEP 2020 talks about only 3 languages. They have the 3 language formula. What is the 3 language formula? Teach them using the mother tongue or the local language, teach them using foreign language, that is English, and expose them to the classical language, that is Sanskrit. Let me explain to you how this will help. If I know the local language as a student, and if I'm taught in the local language, my concepts become clearer. But not only that, I respect my culture. I respect the information that I can gather from my local areas. If I am exposed to the foreign language English, I get connected to the entire world. I am not left behind. I get access to 90% of the information which is on the internet, which is in English. And I can do business with the entire world. And I am a confident person. And third, classical language. Let's take example of Sanskrit. What will that help? First, it will make us nationalists. That is the need of the hour. Second, we will be able to access a lot of knowledge which is buried in the scriptures of India. If countries like Germany can take advantage of our own knowledge, our own wealth, our own cultural wealth, or the wealth which is there in the Vedas, why not us? You see, as a company, we have developed the first Sanskrit lab in the world where we use technology, computers, software to teach Sanskrit, and it is such an easy way of acquiring such language. So by the way, you never teach a language, you never learn a language is always acquired. So the environment, if you create, that will be there, and this can be done. So the 3 language formula is very good. You know, it is said that if a student speaks 3 or more languages, the brain works better. Second, you become more compassionate, you become more accommodating, you respect the others. So that is what the need of the hour is. So if we bring in more languages, if we have the 3 language formula, we will have better citizens, we will have more informed citizens, we will have more intelligent citizens, and we will be able to love our country even more than what we do. Most Indians are nationalists, but the need of the hour is to go back to our Gurukula systems that we can know through the Vedas, through the Sanskrit scriptures, and understand that what we had was great. We were the golden chidiya. We can still become that golden chidiya, provided we go back to our roots. And for that, these languages are important. As a company, we used to promote only English as a language, but lately we've come up with Hindi language lab, we've come up with Sanskrit language lab, we're now also coming with French language lab, because it makes a person smarter if he or she is able to comprehend multiple languages. So kudos to NEP 2020 when they are talking about of getting using technology, using the local language for early years, but not compromising on the foreign languages, because the country has to go and compete the entire world. And today, in today's time, with the kind of leadership that we have, there is no way that India cannot lead, and that is going to do. So I conclude my session here, and I would now take down to the next point. Since we generally have a lot of questions, and these questions are actually there with Mr. Rajul Pratap, who's not there, can we have, can we have questions that we want to ask each other? uh, Suraj sir, can we have questions from your side, or would you want to post in questions on the chat box? We can have Sarthak sir if you want to ask questions to any of the panelists, or Jyoti ma'am if you would want to ask from any of the panelists, and Dr. Yadav if you want to have, and even I can post them. If you have questions from each other, let's have this question ask session, and then we can conclude after this. So any questions from any side to the other panelists? Please name the panelists and ask questions. uh, can we start with Suraj sir? Would you want to ask a question to any of the panelists? Do we have your presence, Suraj sir?
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. We can see you also and audible also. Thank you so much, sir. Would you have a question for any of the panelists, sir? Because we are all moderators, we are all panelists. So that's the way it is today.
No, that's what we were talking about just a moment back. See what changes we want to see in the children. The first changes we will have to bring in the educators first, because if the educators know the strategy, then only the implementation will be quite easy for us. Okay, so now this is to be one, because now NEP 2020 is already on the process, and the timeline has been decided to fully implement it. Now, the thing is that we have to explore the possibility through which we can train the teachers. The one thing that you talk about is technology. That is very rightly you said, because you see that last 2 years, what happened? Till now, we were teaching with the physical classes. Suddenly, this outbreak came, the COVID came, and everybody shifted on the virtual platform. I will tell you that many of my teachers were not actually aware with the using of technologies and all. But situation was like that. They were compelled to learn because there was no way to teach the children. So they underwent to the training many a time, the strategy they learned, and now after a year they have a very comfortable with use of the technology. This is the one change I have seen. Now where they are comfortably training the student also how to use Zoom, how to use the Google Meets and all. Until yesterday, they did not have any information.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is the actually the reflection. I mean, the demand of the situation that forced them to learn this thing. So this is one change we have brought in terms of digital learnings and all for the teachers. Now, what could be the other way through which we can train the teachers? I mean, the trainers, or you can say the educators, so that this education can be, I mean, policy can be effectively implemented on the children. This is my queries.
Do we have a question from anybody, or would you want me to answer? Jyoti ma'am, would you want to give the answer, or Sarthak sir, would you want to give that answer, or Deepika Yadav ma'am, would you want to give the answer to this? Can we have somebody?
I could not hear the question.
Okay,
Can
so I will repeat what Suraj sir is saying. He's saying that rightly said that we need to train our teachers on the use of technology, but there are a lot of other subjects, other means, other things that the teachers have to be trained. How do we train them? Because you can't go and do physical training across the country when we are talking about 14 million teachers.
True.
So what could be the best way of training these teachers? Because unless we train our teachers, we may not be able to implement NEP 2020 in the correct spirit and form. So that is what the question was, Suraj sir. Am I right?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. So do we have an answer from Jyoti ma'am or Sarthak sir? Or would you want me to
yeah.
answer this? Yeah,
No, I'll come
please,
to this. Like
please.
one thing at a time. I mean, we cannot just go and bombard our teacher with lot many things and all, as there are so many online platforms available, a CBSE website, subject wise, they have designed some activities that the teacher has to attend this workshop, then the test has to be done. And similarly, I have told my teachers to be trained, like simply we talk about being trained in using IT. So even my school did not have these IT resources and all available for them. But because I was there for, like, I joined in September, and then we were slowly and gradually, we had all these projectors in our classrooms. And then we had actually training for our teachers, like one thing at a time. As I said, that first they were trained to how to download the videos, how to save their work, because some teachers are really, I mean, so much into their traditional methods of teaching. But at the end of the day, what happened is all of them were like that, ma'am, it's really going to help us. And how they did is, because I am working for a residential school, so how it is going to help is, first the teacher, we are following our five stages of teaching. Like first is the traditional teaching, where the teacher does actually goes through what he was or she was on track. Then the teacher has to teach those concepts with the help of audio visuals, wherein the videos are there, where the activities are there, and then the doubt clearing session is there. Apart from that, our children, they have access to these online resources and all 24/7. They sit inside the classroom, they sit in computer lab, and they have access to all the resources which our teachers are using. So that's what my point is. Like, we can take one thing at a time. Look, today I just take how to make PowerPoint, or tomorrow I can just take how to create my own video and upload it on my portal, that it it is accessible to all my children. So instead of taking it as a whole, so let's start from like inductive and deductive. There are two methods, so we can go from simple to complex instead of complex to simple. That would be my answer.
Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. Come back to you. Uh, Sarthak sir, would you want to answer this question in your own way? Would you want to do that, sir? Sarthak sir, do we have your presence?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Would you want to answer
Yes.
Suraj sir's question, sir?
Yes, Suraj sir is focused and insisted more upon technology, and Jyoti ma'am, was focusing on traditional and other kinds of method of teaching as well. So I here have and I can give an option like why don't we go parallelly technological and traditional? This both ways of both modes of teaching into a classroom. Like if we follow them parallelly, so I think the teacher will also be in position to explain everything, and children will also feel little involved and interactive in the session. And secondly, Mr. Jaswender, you already have suggested us, like in case a teacher is not aware about a question or not fully informed about a question raised by any of the student in the classroom. So the simple way is to ask him to go back home and come next day with the 10 points of that particular question. Not only he, rather whole of the class. So that way also, like this is a sort of training for a teacher. So like Jyoti ma'am ne jaise kaha, like for the last year, COVID-19 tha jab se, since March or April onwards, we started online sessions for the students. So in that, like initially, including me, we were not trained completely. Initially, like we faced some difficulties and some things were there, a few things were there which couldn't help us out. But later we came to learn like it is really going to be very helpful and beneficial. First for ourselves and then for children. The things now are little easier, like taking online sessions and being more informative and like सारा पूरा knowledge and experience हमको 1 year में इतना मिल गया है कि मीडिया ने इतना ज़्यादा help किया है इसमें. And these kind of sessions like you have been organizing, like so many sessions are related to NEP. NEP is an excuse, but we are coming across not many things which really is going to be practically helpful in running the school in the time.
Very true, sir. So, in fact, I am also speaker. I am not the organizer. It so happened that Mr. Rajul had an emergency, and he never wants to, say no to a session. So, since I was a participant, he's asked me to do it. I know him personally. But, sir, coming back to your point, I am from Gujarat. Gujarati mein, there's a saying. It says "Padya eva devaya." That means आपको अगर आप खुद पढ़ोगे तो अपने आप उसका रास्ता निकल आएगा. This is what the teachers did. They said, okay, let's try it. कुछ तो होगा. And that was the spirit that we need to salute. That none of these teachers said, no, हमें नहीं आता. We are not trained for that. हम नहीं कर सकते. They tried, and they successfully came out of this. But what if I would want to give Suraj sir's answer to his question is, how do we train the teachers beyond the technology? Sir, CBSE and Government of India is coming out with a teacher training portal. Because you see what happens is when we implement, a university like SRM can afford to have one different professor for every major subject, but a school may not have. If you're going to give them option to choose any of the questions, so the same teacher will have to wear multiple hats. So there, what the teachers have to do is to go on to the self-learning mode. Teachers, when they are capable of teaching, I'm sure they are capable of going to self-learning modes. So they will have to get onto these points. And what are these points? These are points of how do you get self-learning, right? Okay. So I see Rajul, you've joined in. Thank you so much. It was about time I was missing out on words, how to take it further. Thank you for joining. So we've just finished the session, and I would want you to take up from the question session. We have just asked internal questions. So if you want to take up, but my whole point is we have had Suraj sir ask a question, which all three of us have put our perspective. We can start with Mohit sir. Do you have a question? And then I think we can have Jyoti ma'am and Deepika ma'am asking the question, and then you can take it from there, Rajulji. Sarthak sir, do you have a question that you would want to ask the other participants? Jyoti ma'am and Deepika ma'am, if you would have, we can continue there. Sarthak sir, do you have a question for the other speakers?
Actually, it's not a question. It's only like uh, saying like you were talking about Mr. Jaswinder. I'll
Yes,
speak
sir.
to you. Like you were talking about multi-approach kind of teaching. So that if you could explain
Multi, what sir?
some multi kind of approach while teaching. So you were talking about some audio. There are several,
Okay,
like two,
okay,
three
okay,
categories
okay,
of
okay, okay,
listeners:
okay.
audio listeners, visual listeners, like
I'll take
learners.
that. Sir, what we have is when you look at students, if you've seen some students during their exams, what they do is they read, they walk, and they keep reading and reading and reading, right? एक ये तरीका होता है. कई बच्चों को होता है लिख लिख के वो याद करते हैं. कई बच्चे होते हैं जो विजुअली देख के याद करते हैं, और कई बच्चे होते हैं कि कोई और बात कर रहा है तो वो उनको समझ आता है. So auditory learner is a person who is not able to gather anything while reading, but if two people are talking about it, somebody is discussing about it, they gather it. I personally am an auditory learner. Okay, there are some students who actually see things. They see a video, they see a visual thing, and then they learn. They are known as visual learners. But there are some students who actually write and then do it. Okay, so those are kinesthetic, or people who do things with their hands, and so they are kinesthetic learners. So each learner has a different trait. When we say that, when I as a teacher deliver a session in the class, not that everybody will learn or understand what I'm saying. So I as a teacher need to use various ways of doing that. Like, I should talk about it, I should discuss things, I should show something visually, I should make them listen to things. So I should use various ways of doing to ensure that everybody in the class understands what I'm trying to teach. So that is the various different ways of teaching. So a teacher, when they make up their lesson plan, they should include all these four ways of teaching so that it actually becomes proper. So that is what we say is when we talk about different ways of taking up a particular topic. Did I answer your question?
Right. Thank you.
Sarthak
Yes,
sir?
yes.
Right,
Absolutely. Thank you.
right. So that is what we talk about when we talk about different ways of delivering teaching, learning material, right? Okay. Jyoti ma'am, would you have a question for anybody else? For Suraj sir or Sarthak sir or Dr. Deepika? Jyoti ma'am, do we have your presence?
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Do you have a question for the other speakers?
Sir, my question may be a bit off
That's okay, ma'am.
NEP,
Yes.
but I just want to know, like, we talk about these inclusive education, right? So the only part which I as a teacher struggled was this, that how these children who are like, I had one child who had problem of epilepsy, and this child was ADHD also, and it was really, I mean, I managed it throughout the year, but it was so difficult for me. So what are the strategies that we can, or NEP has such, plans that wherein we can actually use those strategies, those pedagogies, that inclusive education also works out well?
Yeah. So Suraj sir, would you want to take this question? Would you want to answer this, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Madam, your question, definitely I will try to relate with my knowledge and my experience. Inclusive education, that means we include all kind of children. It's not the particular children who has the particular problem, specific need. It may be the children is facing any emotional challenge, physical challenge. Okay, bringing all the children together and to use the multiple approach for teaching of them. That's what we call the inclusive learnings and all. Fine. So as in your case, you're just talking about that specific cases, what could be there. So my yeah, what I want to relate it here, ki, inclusive that means what we are using inclusive. Inclusive that means the problem, the specific challenges the child is facing in learning the things. So here one thing can be there to use the multiple approach. Multiple approach that means some children learn through, that's what we are calling about the auditory learner, kinesthetic learner. Okay, there are different, like Howard Garden theory, if you learn, if you just have a look on it, there are 8 kinds of learning
Yes,
that he
yes.
has described. So we
Hmm.
can that we can use any one of it, because our children, because earlier the theory was that 5 kind of senses actually discovered before his
Yes.
theory actually came into the mind. But later on he actually explained that there are 8 kind of different way through which a child can learn, right? So if we imply, and that is a real fact, if we use any, if we at least use any 4 or 5 of them in the classroom, whereby the children will feel that, because maybe I am interested in learning through the music. Maybe when I see the picture, I learn it. Maybe when I learn it very properly. Fine. So if this kind of multiple approach is used in the classroom and the children are valued and respect, they are not shouted, they are given an opportunity, confidence will build up. Definitely the approach, the changes you will see in the children. And this is what actually what I've perceived and I've used over there.
Thank you so much, Suraj sir. Now, Rajulji, over to you. I think I've exhausted. We've got some message here. Somebody has asked a question. Okay, can you take it up now, Rajulji?
Thank you, Jaswinder sir, for handling the session, for leading us for this very special 164 session. Big thanks to all the key speakers. And that I was there only, so I would say the key line for today's session is what Sarthak said during his talk, that be simple to become sample, for the humanity. So big thanks once again to all of you. There is one question, and I would request Jaswinder sir, sir, if I may present this question to you. Ms. Sakshi Verma, PGT, the Campus Senior Secondary School, Dehradun. The question is about how to implement skill subject at junior level without creating environment.
Okay, see, what I understand from her point is without creating environment, means without creating that kind of infrastructure and all that. See, anything that the students do with their hands is skill. Simple things like gardening, right? Simple thing like making a water hut for the sparrows. Things like that can be taken up. You see, in the schools, they have got people, they have electricians, they have gardeners, they have carpenters, so they can show them simple things. Even for small kids, gardening could be one. How to stick 2 pieces of wood together, how to nail something, or how the electricity works, what a fuse is. So certain things like this can be taken up by the teacher in while taking up in the school. So for junior kids, you can take them. You need not take them out of the school. Or if I were to be allowed, I would get a potter to the school for one day and tell them, okay, why don't you make some pots here? Okay, or I would get somebody else who's making bricks. I'll tell, sir, thoda mitti leke aa jao and thoda bricks bana ke dikha do. So that what will happen is the students will appreciate the efforts which are put up by, and they will also understand certain scientific ways or things about that. So that is how you need to do. You need not create special labs for vocational training. You can always have, whatever is available within the school premises. So that is what my answer would be.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jaswinder sir, for that. And we have another question. Ms. Neelam Reddy, PGT English, Tinghania Public School, Fort Songad. Suraj sir, I would request, if I may present this question to you, how to ensure the policy is effectively implemented till the last letter, especially in private schools. So, sir, if you would like to share some key challenges of the policy implementation, Suraj sir.
Yes, yes. That I was talking about. The first thing is the teachers pool, that the trained teachers that we were just talking about, and that's a hot topic. I mean, something to discuss about. See, if you're talking about the implementation of this policy as a whole, so I will just go each of them phase wise. Like, hello, am I
Yes,
audible?
sir.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
So what I was talking about, yes. The first thing is that for implementing, actually, national education policy advocate, first thing is that okay, we have to use the maximum use the technology. The one thing I just talk about, that technology training must be given to the teachers. Okay, and here also I'll come back to that in what way it can be imparted. That's my own thinking, way of thinking. You can also relate your experience. Second is that teacher student relationship. See, the time it changes. The time is already changed. A student has lot many job to do, not many assignments to work. Okay, so out of this they are left with very little time, little time for their personal life and all. So pressure and stress is already on the student. Fine. So it may be that in the coming time, because of the competition, because of the expectation of parents and all, the pressure is mounting upon the children. So you have to develop a very right student teacher student relationship. A bonding has to be built up so that it should be taken care of. Next is that we should have a micro teaching learning process whereby theory and practical both be shown in a different way. This kind of design could be implemented whereby, this is what I'm talking about, micro teaching. That means teaching can be related to the emotional training. It can be something related to your blended learning. It can be something related to your behaviors training. So this kind of design can be implemented, and not all, at least 20 set of questions, 20 set of different examples can be put up, and training can be imparted through the micro teaching, so that a teacher could understand if this kind of situations come, how I'm going to handle the children's in all the way. Okay, this is the one way I've talked about. I have actually listed out the training of technology, then teacher-student relationship, then forward-looking, then theory. Theory should be taught with the practical experience. That was what I'm talking about. And that also the behavioral training, emotional training, using content relating to the practical life situation. This training can also be given. So what I'm talking about, 20 set of example can be used, and if the training is imparted to the teachers, definitely will be able to implement this policy systematically, gradually as a whole. And after that, a screen test can be taken, fine, so that to ensure that how much and what exactly the teachers had learned. If this kind of small process is actually implemented, definitely is going to work. And out of that, two more things is that which I talk about, which I have already learned in B.Ed and all, the multidisciplinary approach and the Bloom taxonomy, because these two things are always in practical situation. We have to implement in learning. Many of us have learned about that, but really we are using in the practical life situation. So if something more example out to the multidisciplinary learning, teaching and learning, then after this Bloom taxonomy, that is called about the understanding, remembering, analyzing, creating. This kind of situation examples are created and training can be given. Definitely the teacher will have hands-on experience to use their skill properly in the classroom. Right.
Absolutely. Big thanks, Suraj sir, for highlighting these two important areas. And now I would request Sarthak sir, sir, if I may present the next question to you. Oh, yeah. So question in the chat box, Miss Disha, she's a PGT biology with Vidya Vihar Central School, Thrissur, Kerala. The question is about if a child takes different subjects, both science and history in their higher classes, and at the end of 12th, if they prefer to take medicine or engineering, will they be able to write the entrance exam? Yes, Sarthak sir. Sarthak sir, what challenges you perceive?
Hello, can I ask you to repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so question is about that flexibility in terms of choosing subjects. Let's say if a student chooses two different subjects like history and biology, or let's say history or mathematics. Yes. So if he wants to write the entrance exam of engineering or let's say medicine, so what would be the scenario?
It won't affect child's caliber, because even if we go for the contrast of two subjects like history and biology, you give an example. So the same way, I would like to relate it with another thing, like in our mind, everyone's mind, both the files are available. One is of anger, one is of peace. And as and when, whatever we want, if we see the situation, we want to live in peace and maintain peace around us, we just open up that file and work accordingly. And in case like we need to shout on anyone, we just take out the file, open it, the file of anger, and use it. The same way, like if a child wishes to be a doctor after having opted on history as an optional subject in class 12, so he can just close that file, put it aside, and open up the file of bio. Like I mean to talk about knowledge, maybe utilized practically. In the same way, if he wants to go and take some humanities part during graduation, he can use that. It makes no impact. Like right from the beginning of the session for last 2 hours, most of the speakers have used this. Like the present generation, a child has multiple, files of knowledge in his mind. If a teacher has one, he has 10. So 1:10 is the ratio. So it makes no difference even if the one subject is of the stream which is not going to use in his future career. So I think the file which is required can be opened up and used.
Can I answer this point to the other level?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay. So there's going to be a requirement, mandatory requirement. If a child wants to later on take medicine, he should have minimum these many credits of biology. Getting my point? So what they say is that, okay, you have option right from, your secondary, you can choose whichever subjects, but later on, say if I want to become a doctor, I should have taken 2 or 3 or 4 credits of biology, and the rest can be okay. Right? So because what is going to happen is you're going to have minor and major subjects. Okay, so there now suppose if I want to become an engineer and if I do not have anything in physics, I may not be allowed to do that. Right? But if I have taken mathematics, there may be something which is allowed. So what will happen is if a student has not got that many credits, he can go back and get those credits to take admission in medicine, things like that. So that is what this choice-based credit system works about. And I'm sure if we have Dr. Yadav, she can answer that. I think she's left. But this is what happens in colleges. That's exactly what may happen in the school, these things.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarthak sir. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. And now I would request Jyoti ji, ma'am, if I may present the next question to you. Ms. Rekha, teacher, Shram Academy, Chennai, has asked this question: can village students get the benefit of NEP? Ma'am, when I was just going through your profile, I was really inspired to see the kind of experience you have had. And now you have joined this wonderful organization, which is doing so well for those students coming from disadvantaged backgrounds. So I'm sure you're the right person to answer this question. How much hope you have with this policy? It can do good for those students who come from disadvantaged backgrounds or village backgrounds. Jyoti ji. Jyoti ji, do we have your presence? You are on mute, ma'am. I believe she is, facing a challenge. She will be joining us back. Jaswinder sir, if I may request you, if you can take on this question.
So this question is about, is it there on this thing? Yeah. So you say that how can a village student get benefit of NEP? Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
You see, I'll again go and say that yes, there is a huge divide between India and Bharat. Bharat stays in the villages and India is in the urban sectors. But what I think is that if we deploy technology provided properly, these students will be able to get access to, will be able to take the benefit of NEP 2020. But for that, the government will have to do a lot. They will have to come up with free internet for education, and also provide devices to students in the villages. You see, what I would always say, instead of subsidizing paper, let them give a device to each child, where that child is able to access internet, access learning, access digital content. So that is the way that village students will be able to get the benefits of NEP. Otherwise, it seems to be difficult.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jaswinder sir. Big thanks once again to all the key speakers and participants for joining us today. With this, we come to the end of this very special 164th session. But before we end this session, I would request all our key speakers If we can have your concluding remarks, I would request Suraj sir, Sarthak sir, Jaswinder sir, Jyoti ma'am, uh, if we can have your concluding remark. And we have very interesting practice that while sharing your concluding remark, if you can also suggest one idea that you would like to implement if you get a chance to become education minister of our country. So what would be your priority that you would like to implement? I would request Jaswinder sir, the co-moderator, I would say the main moderator, I'm the co-moderator for this session. Jaswinder sir, if we can have your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you get a chance to become, education minister of our country?
Okay, thank you so much, Rajuji. My concluding remark would be that NEP 2020 is a huge document. It's a very big policy, and the goals that have been set are very mammoth. One, we should not get scared of this mammoth policy that we need to work on. We need to break it into pieces and then go and access, clear one after the other. We need to achieve certain points, then go to the other point, and then go to the point. That is what I would talk about it. My other point would be that understand that this policy is great, excellent work done by the policymakers. The government may put in a lot of money, a lot of infrastructure may be put up, but all this will not be successful if we do not have the right people implementing it. When I talk about right people, I'm talking about the teachers. We need to see to it that we need to attract the right kind of talent to come into the education fraternity. I'm sure the other principals will vouch for this, that we need to have the people who come in by choice. It is not that people who come in by force, that they don't have any other job and they become teachers. We need people who really love teaching, people who are passionate about education, things like that. The 4-year integrated B.Ed program is the right step towards it. Right from after 12th standard, these students will have decided that this is what I want to do, and they will become passionate trainers, and that we need to do it. But that is not going to be enough. We need to see to it that we pay them well. If you pay them well, you'll have the right kind of people joining this fraternity, because nowhere is it written that a teacher should not live a good life. The second important thing is that you need to respect the teachers. We've all talked about Gurukula systems, but you know how much respect those gurus were given? We need to bring in that kind of respect. We need to get the right kind of people. We need to respect them. And if anybody you respect, they will never do anything wrong. So our worry about whether the teacher is doing good or not, whether the teacher is prepared or not, whether the teacher is compassionate or not, whether the teacher is passionate or not, will all be taken care of if we attract the right kind of talent into education. And money and respect are the only two things that are important. And I'm sure our country can afford that. That's one thing. So what I would do as a minister, I would classify all these educationists as the first-class citizens of the country. See, we respect the armed forces because they are taking care of our present. But teachers are taking care of the future of our country. We need to equally respect them. So I would respect them onto that. I am on a mission. Sarthak sir, Jyoti ma'am, I think we have got Suraj Kumar sir has logged out. So if you are there, Suraj Kumar sir, it is a humble request to all three of you that, what I want to do is I'm on a small mission. I want to make it a big mission. I want to share a screen for you. Just have a look at the screen and let me know if you could be of help to me in this. See, I come from this company by the name of Wordsworth. So what we do is we set up language labs, and we have worked with 3,000 schools. And in these 3,000 schools, we have trained close to 25,000 teachers. And while training them, we realized that we need to recognize the educationists. What I need by saying recognize all education, see, understand, a doctor has a DR prefix to his name. An engineer has an ER prefix to his name or her name. A chartered accountant prefix is CA. Why can't we, as educationists, have an ED prefix to our name? I would request all of you to have ED written before your name. Ask your teachers to write this and let the world know that these are the people who we actually need to respect. These are the people who are working on the future of a country, and these are the people who need to be respected. What I've done is I've gone one step further. I've actually gone and taken this up Imagine if this is what you could have, and imagine how good your teachers would feel. And let this be passed on to people, because educationists need to be recognized, and that is the way of attracting the right kind of talent and saying, thank you, teachers, you're doing a good job, keep it up, and the world and the country is with you.